Attendance push. Plus, one city's school zone speeding cameras are coming back online. The technical issues they hope they've solved. And Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos is pinpointing the heat on the way this week. This is News 6 Mornings.
Plus, we're staying on top of breaking news. A woman shot and killed in a Deltona neighborhood. The suspect caught miles away. We'll have the very latest in moments. Good morning on your Monday at 7 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Justin Mormouth. Hope you had a nice weekend. Trooper Steve here, watching the roads. Not too shabby out there. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos leads us off with our pinpoint accurate forecast. Going to be hot. Also, a little bit of a summer sea breeze storm action today.
Kind of felt like it yesterday, right?
It did.
Oh, yeah.
It was hot. It was muggy all day. And then, boom, we had those showers and thunderstorms. Some had that potential of becoming severe. We had a couple of those rotating storms out there, which triggered tornado warnings. Thankfully, nothing confirmed on the ground. Remember, just a few weeks ago, those tornado warnings did something completely different than they did yesterday. So let's talk about the Launch Credit Union camera. A nice start to the day. We got some of those wispy clouds out there from that lingering rain and activity we had yesterday. But right now, Cape Canaveral, you guys are still holding at 70 degrees as temperatures this afternoon will continue to rebound back into the mid-80s. Now, mid-80s along the coastline is hot. Rain chances, though, will be going up to about 20 to 30%. Now, with 20 to 30%, it might not seem like a lot, but where you get the rain, you're going to see some of those booming thunderstorms as well. Temperatures out the door, upper 60s to low 70s. And our highs this afternoon closing in on near 90 degrees across the I-4 corridor. Could see our first 90-degree day either once or a couple times this week because this is how warm temperatures are going to get. Bus stop forecast looking hot, 85 by 3 p.m. If you're planning on heading out to the beaches, the weather is looking pretty good. Rip current risk, though, still staying on the high side. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, Brevard, we got a crash that just came out a second ago here, so just please be careful. Columbia Boulevard, close to Grissom Parkway, not reported with roadblock. But I'm finding a little bit of fog out here this morning. This is I-95 at the 223. This is pretty low. So just please make sure you're paying attention because 2 miles north of here is fine and 2 miles south of here is fine. So like the chief has been mentioning, spotty, it's moving, it's not going to cause too much of an inconvenience, but as long as you're aware of it, stuff will burn off pretty quickly. A lot of law enforcement presence up here for something you're about to hear about in the next few seconds, but this area is back open to vehicle traffic. Toll Bridge is back open at Hammock Dunes Parkway at Palm Harbor Parkway. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah, more on that breaking news out of Volusia County after a woman is killed in an overnight shooting.
Now, this is happening in Deltona on Parma Drive. That's just off of Captain Drive. Deputies say they found the victim just before 2:30 this morning. Investigators say the suspect, who was known to the victim, was arrested about an hour later after crashing his car in Flagler County. So far, deputies haven't released the names of anyone involved, but we are expecting more updates later on this morning. Happening today, a Lake County man charged with murdering his girlfriend's son in a horrific case of child abuse due back in front of a judge.
Yeah, an arraignment is set for Andre Walker, and it comes after hundreds gathered this weekend to remember the 10-year-old who police say was the victim of horrific abuse. News 6's Mark Lehman following the latest live for us this morning. And Mark, both Walker and that boy's mother are facing murder charges.
The state attorney upgrading their charges to second-degree murder 3 days after Xavier Williams died from his injuries. Now, another step in the case is set to happen as the community has been comforting the boy's family.
Lord, will you give peace when it seems like there is no peace?
It was a gathering of support over the weekend in Tavares as dozens came together in memory of 10-year-old Xavier Williams.
Just know that your son will always be in my heart, and may that he rest in peace.
The candlelight vigil happening just over a week after Xavier died after spending more than a month in the hospital. Tavares police say he was beaten in this house by his mother, Kimberly Mills, and her boyfriend, Andre Walker.
I know we were shaken coming here, but just the support and the outpouring of love that we probably are going home feeling better than how we left the house.
Xavier's aunt, Camille Williams, says it's been incredibly difficult for the family after learning details about the torture police say came at the hands of the suspects. They're both facing second-degree murder charges, with Walker scheduled for an arraignment this morning. Meanwhile, Xavier's family has been receiving help from police, Advent Health, and many throughout the Tavares community as they navigate this difficult time.
They made us feel like it wasn't just a case. You know what I mean? It felt like it was very personal.
Both Mills and Walker have arraignments scheduled for this morning, though it appears Mills has waived her appearance. We'll be in the courtroom as the proceeding gets underway, and we'll keep you updated with what happens. Crystal.
Mark, also developing, we're waiting for answers from Osceola County deputies after witnesses say a case of road rage led to gunfire. This all unfolded in the middle of the afternoon yesterday near the Publix in Poinciana on Cypress Parkway and Dover Plum Avenue. Witnesses tell News 6 after one driver got cut off, things quickly escalated and nearly a dozen shots were fired. We reached out to the spokespeople for Sheriff Marcos Lopez multiple times, but so far they won't confirm if anyone was hurt or if the gunman got away.
A new online fundraiser is now underway to help the family of a mother of 4 shot to death inside her Orange County home last week. Investigators say Takesha Eads was killed by her husband on West Livingston Street in Orla Vista. Eads was expecting her 5th grandchild at the time of her death. Now her oldest daughter has set up a GoFundMe with the donations going toward the family. Relatives say they also plan to hold several events to celebrate their mom's impact on the community in the coming days.
New this morning, a bill is making its way through the legislature to try and tackle the problem of kids not going to school. It's a major issue in many of our local districts where in some cases more than a third of all students are considered chronically absent. News 6's Angie Casada live right now in Lake County this morning. And Angie, what does this mean for parents and students?
Hey, good morning, Crystal. Yeah, so if your child misses 18 days or more during the school year, they're considered chronically absent. And right now, more than a third of students in some local counties are under that category, including right here in Lake County, that's seeing the highest number in Central Florida. And that new bill aims to change that. The proposed law, House Bill 1367, was filed by Representative Erica Booth of Osceola County. It would create a statewide attendance policy, require schools to identify chronically absent students earlier, and make parents more accountable.
The fact that state legislators are taking notice of chronic absenteeism in the school districts is a massive win because it is a huge problem.
Something education experts like Dr. Jordan Rodriguez agree with.
There's other factors that go in. Everybody's got different circumstances, but the high school level, parents got to take the reins, and the schools have to come up with, like I said, reasonable disincentives.
Right now, the numbers show a widespread problem. The latest attendance data from 2023-2024 shows Lake County with 37.7% of students that are chronically absent. Marion and Orange County's 35.2%, Osceola County coming in with 34.9%, and Volusia County at 34.1%. If passed, this bill would require 4 attendance reports a year and to mandate meetings with parents for chronically absent students.
The biggest economic engine and the biggest ladder out of a bad situation is education. So it has to be number one, and you cannot allow excuses to find a way.
Now, lawmakers still have to debate the details, but if this bill passes, Florida schools would start enforcing these rules next school year. Reporting in Lake County, Angie Casada, getting results, News 6.
Angie, thanks. And happening today, cameras to catch speeders in school zones will once again be up and running in Palm Bay. So listen up, drivers. We told you last month when police suspended the use of those cameras after discovering a glitch that caused some people to get tickets by mistake. The department isn't saying exactly what's been done since then, only that the cameras will be going back online this morning. They've been placed at 15 different schools in the city. Drivers caught going over 10 miles above the speed limit when kids are nearby will get $100 fines in the mail.
In Oviedo, city leaders are keeping a close eye on a bill that would change the way people enjoy nightlife. The bill would allow cities to set up special entertainment districts where people can order alcohol and then walk around with those drinks in hand. The city manager says it could lead to a big boom in business to places like Oviedo on the Park. Reaction, though, from the public has been mixed.
Sometimes it's overcrowded when you're sitting there, but if you could grab and then come sit by the lake, that'd be a different, a different story.
This is a kid-friendly atmosphere, and I kind of like to keep it that way, and I just don't want alcohol mixed with that.
Now, even if the bill becomes law, the city would need to draft its own ordinance to set up the special districts.
Right now, U.S. consumers are bracing for a new round of tariffs set to kick in this week, including an extra 25% on imported vehicles. It's in an interview with NBC News this weekend. President Trump says he, quote, couldn't care less if car prices rise so long as more manufacturing comes to the U.S. Some economists are saying the price hike could be in the thousands.
Most likely prices are going to go up. by a few $1,000s at least, but it would vary from brand to brand and maybe even from model to model.
Meanwhile, Wednesday could be an even bigger day for U.S. trade. That's when Trump says he'll unveil new reciprocal tariffs on all nations.
The matchups are set for this year's Final Four in men's college basketball. One of those teams, the red-hot Florida Gators. The team punched their ticket with a huge win this weekend, a come-from-behind win, taking out Texas Tech 84-79. And we now know who their next opponent will be. A familiar one, the #1 overall seed, Auburn Tigers, who knocked out Michigan State yesterday. The game is set for next Saturday night, and the only place to watch it is WKMG. Should be an absolutely great Final Four. All #1 seeds there. Duke and Houston should be a great matchup. Florida, Auburn, they've played once this season already, Candace. Florida beat them by about 9. But anything can happen in the Final Four. Really cool to see the Florida Gators continue their streak.
I know. So it's not a big surprise. This bracket's not like a whoa, no
it's
Cinderella
chalky.
story.
Yeah, it's chalky this year.
All right. Well, at least you know you're going to guarantee a good game, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about that. Downtown Orlando, Sky Cam, brought to you by Light Orlando, delivering hope. We've got that fog we've been talking about. We have a lot of that humidity. We have just enough of a light breeze that's allowing for some of that fog to develop. So right now we're at 68 degrees in downtown Orlando. A lot of that fog is just above the roadways, but our breeze right now very light out of the southwest. But notice we are starting to see some of that visibility. It's really starting to thicken up there. A lot of that fog is starting to thicken up, reducing the visibility. You just saw it there, updated there in Kissimmee, visibility less than about a mile. 4-mile visibility in Cocoa, Deltona at 3. So again, it's very spotty, but where you will be running through it, it could get kind of thick. Now, temperatures out the door, upper 60s to low 70s. And the reason for the humid, hot, kind of stormy setup that we have again today is because we have a cold front. Now, the good news is the storm risk for severe weather is still going to stay majority north of our area, just across far northern Marion County. We have a low end risk. For us locally here, it's not the cold front that's bringing us the rain today. It's the sea breeze that once again will be coming together right along I-4, pushing out towards our eastern communities. We'll have more of the timing of when you can expect some of that rain and storms coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
Thank you, ma'am. We're starting to get a little busier out here. Mix that with some fog. Just pay attention, please. Like the chief has mentioned, it's right there above the ground. Should be gone within the next few. I do got a crash here, Columbia eastbound near Grissom Parkway, and then further south there along US 1. We have 2 crashes here just north of Merritt Island Causeway. So one here just south there, Cocoa Boulevard, southbound near Cocoa Place crossing. So just be cautious. You can see some delays right in that area. Outside of that, it's not too bad out there. The other crash is probably down towards the Orange County area, but DOT cam showing just how patchy that fog is. Cape Canaveral, you're clear. And then at 528 at Satellite, we're seeing some fog out there. Just be careful. This crash causing some major issues at Tap Vineland and OBT. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. 7:13 on your Monday. Coming up, a well-known name planning to join the race for Orange County mayor.
Who's expected to make an official announcement in just hours. Plus, it's a wrap for this year's LEGO convention in Orlando. A look at the LEGO masters from around the country and how the event is getting results.
First, though, scammers now aiming for you as you binge some of your favorite shows. The scheme you don't want to fall for while watching Netflix. You're watching News 6 Mornings, getting results for all of Central Florida on this Monday. We'll be right back. Well, in this age of streaming, scammers are getting smarter, and now it's Netflix users who have become a prime target using phishing schemes, texts, and fake websites. All new this morning, investigator Lewis Bolden has your schemes and ripoffs alerts.
Netflix accounts are ubiquitous. But in the age of AI, spotting what's real and what's fake is becoming more and more difficult.
We are seeing an uplift in Netflix-related scams.
Corinne Zilberstein is vice president of product at Guardio, a cybersecurity company built to secure consumers' digital lives. She says in the third and fourth quarters of last year, Netflix made their top 10 list of the most imitated companies.
Netflix is an all-year scam because there are so many people using Netflix that the hackers don't need to do anything special.
Be on the lookout for smishing text messages popping into your phone, claiming your account is temporarily locked due to irregular activities. And there's a link that takes you to a website that looks like the real deal, trying to get your login information.
Their username and their password will belong to the hacker, which can now use them to access the account. And as you know, the account has financial information.
Also look out for phishing emails claiming to be from Netflix with enticements like getting paid to watch Netflix, and emails asking you to update your account information. If you think there could actually be a problem with your account, go to Netflix yourself. Don't Google Netflix because now scammers can get fake websites in search engines. Actually type in netflix.com on your phone or device and log in that way. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at lbolden@wkmg.com. Getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
Good warning there. Well, UCF police is warning students and anyone living nearby campus, keep those car doors locked. Now, the warning comes after several burglaries were reported at the Ninth Circle apartment complex that's near the main campus. Police say there were no signs of forced entry, and in one case, a laptop and a pair of shoes were stolen. Right now, UCF PD is reviewing surveillance footage. Anyone who knows something is asked to call the crime line at 800-423-TIPS. Happening today, a familiar face will officially announce that she's running for Orange County Mayor. Current clerk of courts and former District 6 Commissioner Tiffany Moore Russell is planning a kickoff event this morning at the Supervisor of Elections office. Now, this is expected to be the first of many big names to announce they're running for the office. Current Mayor Jerry Demings will not be running in the 2026 election due to term limits.
It was a Lego takeover this weekend in Central Florida. Lego enthusiasts and master builders from across the country gathered at Osceola Heritage Park for the annual Orlando Brick Convention. Collectors were able to shop for current and retired Lego sets, minifigures, and accessories. A portion of the proceeds will go to Creations for Charity. That is an all-volunteer organization that donates Legos to underprivileged children. So a great cause.
And let me tell you, Legos, they go for generation to generation. They will never go bad.
Yeah.
They don't. You just got to keep them all. You got to keep every piece. So you're not missing that. Like you lose one, it kind of ruins.
Well,
It's like a puzzle,
turn it
right?
into something else,
Yeah,
right?
you can kind of make your own thing.
Yeah.
They all end up in one big
bag, a huge like crate of just Legos, and then you make your own.
My brother and I used to run around the house as kids when we were juveniles and bad, and run around. I'd take them and like toss them on the floor if he was chasing me.
That's horrible.
Just to get him to stop. Why not? Come on, we've done
I bet
worse.
your mom.
Yeah.
He can relate.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was never good at Legos though. And it's very clear. Like, just you're either good at them or you're not. I was never really all that good.
Do you know where Legos have actually been played more now?
Where?
When I found out that Legos float in the bathtub.
Oh.
So
Do they?
It's a fun little project.
I did not know
Not
that.
for me. I'm not sitting there like champagne.
Now we know what Candace does on the
with
weekends.
a soap,
Champagne bubbles
bath
and
bomb,
Legos.
and lavender
With
smells
her
as you build your.
champagne.
But you know, sometimes you just need to contain the kids. You're like, we're just get in. All right, let's go.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Good
they
little
float.
hack.
Yeah, find a little hack. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast across the area. Could you imagine? Candles. I'm like putting Legos
I
together.
can see that. Okay.
That would be fun. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast. Satellite and radar composite, I could say a lot more, but I'm not. Even though we're streaming, so I can say a lot. We got a cold front coming through across Central Florida. As it continues to approach, things are really going to be heating up. Temperatures for today nearing 90 degrees. And along with the heat, we're also going to be dealing with a couple of those heavier downpours, producing some strong storms. Severe weather threat not as high as it was yesterday, nor is the coverage as widespread, but but there will be that chance. Think summertime, where some pockets get a lot of rain and those booming thunderstorms, while others just stay hot and sunny. So it's going to be that trend, at least for the next 2 days. Temperatures out the door right now, upper 60s, the low 70s. We're at 73 degrees there in Titusville, 68 degrees currently in Kissimmee. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today. Our highs are going to be back into the upper 80s, closing in on near 90. Our average for this time of the year is about 81 or so. So we're still going to be well above the average. And then we're going to talk about some of those late storms developing. The coverage, you can see there, is not extremely high because it's not going to be across all of Central Florida. Our coverage is going to be very limited to right along I-4 and just towards the east, right along up and down the 95 corridor, basically from Daytona Beach southward. There will be a couple of those bubble up thunderstorms that will be produced along that west coast sea breeze. And you can see it becomes a little more widespread by about 6, 7 o'clock, really focusing out there across areas of eastern Osceola, Orange, Seminole County, southern Volusia, and a big majority of Brevard County. Most of the action will taper off, hopefully just in time for that Fram 2 launch later on this evening. And then on Tuesday, we'll have more of a collision of that sea breeze, but it will be shifting a little further inland, kind of zip lining right there, that seam along the I-4 corridor towards North 95. But again, after that, we're still talking about a whole lot of heat. Big dome of high pressure is going to keep us under a hotter temperature trend, and you can see that temperatures are still going to be in those upper 80s, closing in on near 90 degrees. For those wondering, what's the average? Is this kind of an early start to the 90s? Not really. On typical years, we tend to see the first 90-degree day at about April 8th. So again, we're kind of on trend when it comes to those temperatures, but certainly feeling more like summer than spring. Those storms will also be feeling more like summer, at least throughout the next 2 days. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, Orange County, pay attention, please, on this Monday. Traffic is not really that bad out there, but we do have a crash here at Taft Vineland and Orange Blossom Trail causing some problems. So think about this. West side of Taft here, we have a public school, plus we have the motorcycle tech school, and then on the east side here is all industrial. So please be careful. OBT, man, that needs a facelift if anything right there. I-4 nice and clear really from Winter Springs 434 to the downtown area with no issues. We are starting to pick up some problems here. That just happened. I'm going to turn around here. This looks like it just happened a moment ago. Looks like we have something pretty nasty down here at Narcoossee and St. Cloud at 192. When I come back, I'll get that info for you. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. 23andMe bankrupt. So you're probably wondering what's going to happen to all that genetic data.
Yeah, it's a big question. Straight ahead, why advocates are saying delete your data from the site now.
And where are all the chickens? At the bottom of the hour, the mystery many in Oviedo want solved.
All right, so if you've ever used a 23andMe kit, some experts are worried that your genetic data could soon be up for sale. The company filed for bankruptcy last week, and while it's unclear what's next, there is a big incentive for corporations and researchers to get the genetic data for the company's 15 million customers. That's because it offers a huge potential for everything from medical research to even advertising. 23andMe says the bankruptcy filing won't change how it handles user data. However, advocates are urging you to delete your data from the service.
All right, if you have a bad habit of procrastinating, you know you're talking about yourself. Putting your phone away may not solve the problem. Get this, a study in Frontiers found even when people put their smartphones out of reach, they procrastinated just as much by finding new ways to avoid their work. The study author suggests it's not smartphones that are the problem, it's our actions, and we need to take accountability for them.
Absolutely, we do. Well, President Trump is looking ahead to a third term, but how?
Oh, that possible plan up next.
Plus, breaking news out of Deltona, the details deputies are now sharing after an early morning fatal shooting.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
Good morning, Central Florida. Temperatures this afternoon will be back into near 90 degrees. Right now, we're dodging a little bit of visibility, but I do want to show your attention, turn your attention here to our clouds and rain forecast, showing those scattered showers and thunderstorms developing right along I-4 and towards our coastal communities. This is going to be between about 3-4 o'clock and throughout at least sundown. So some of those heavier downpours will be expected. So we got the summertime storms. We also have the summertime heat. Temperatures nearing 90 degrees for today. Do expect a lot more of the same for tomorrow, but temperatures staying hot all week long. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
Thank you, Candace. We're getting a little better out here at Taft, Vineland, and OBT, but the crash still going to slow us down a little bit, so please be careful. Narcoossee and 192. 1 minute it was a mess. The next, it seems to have gotten a little bit better, so I'm trying to find out some information. Doesn't look too bad down there now. Turnpike very slow in Kissimmee, so please be careful right there at US 192. The news, well, it continues next. Remember, you get updates on our big stories anytime. ClickOrlando.com.
This portion of the news is sponsored by AK Certified Roofing. Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
7:30 right now. Let's get a check of our top stories. Breaking right now. Volusia County deputies on the scene of a deadly shooting. It happened along Parma Drive near Deltona. Investigators say a woman was shot and killed just before 2:30 this morning. Deputies say the suspect, who was known to the victim, was found about an hour later after crashing his car in Flagler County.
The Lake County man accused of killing his girlfriend's 10-year-old son due back in court this morning to formally enter a plea. Charges against Andre Walker were upgraded to murder after the boy died from his injuries earlier this month.
And the next crewed launch from our coast is set for tonight. The Fram 2 mission is privately funded and would be the first to orbit the Earth's poles. Liftoff on a Falcon 9 rocket set for 9:46 p.m., weather permitting.
And speaking of weather, Mother Nature putting on quite the show yesterday. Take a look. This is how it looked in Edgewater. Other areas had tornado warnings.
I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while. I mean, it was coming down in buckets. Let's get a check of that pinpoint forecast for today with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos.
Yeah, they were certainly rocking thunderstorms yesterday. Turned pretty widespread. We were talking a lot about that developing for the last couple of days, and unfortunately, it came just in time for everyone to kind of wrap up their Sunday, I should say. Now, for today, we'll have another round of some rain and storms, not as widespread or as strong to severe as we dealt with yesterday, but we still will be dodging some rain and some storms. Daytona Beach sky cam right now. You notice we have a lot of cloud cover still kind of lingering from all those late day storms yesterday. We're at 66 degrees. Some of that cloud cover making its way a little further closer towards our kind of the ground level, which is why we are starting to pick up some visibility issues right now, down to about less than a quarter of a mile or so in areas in and around Sanford, Orlando, Kissimmee, Leesburg as well. Now, that doesn't mean that it's widespread, just very patchy. Where we do have some of that fog, though, it is pretty dense. Now, temperatures besides the fog right now, we're mostly dry, upper 60s, low 70s already getting picked up and down the Brevard County coastline between 70 and 73 degrees. But notice how hot temperatures will be getting before we start dodging some rain and storms. We'll have more details on the timing and location of that rain coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
Slowly turning into Monday out here, but the good thing is it's not too bad. So this Taft Island crash talked about earlier at Orange Blossom Trail caused a mess of a slowdown. Looks like we've thinned that out. So has Narcoossee and 192. It showed shut down there for about 5 seconds and then all of a sudden cleared right on up. So if you're out here waking up this morning, just please pay attention. School traffic, very dense traffic along the Florida Turnpike right now in Kissimmee northbound. And then we do have a crash here at Poinciana Boulevard at Lizzie Brown Road here, just close north of Reeves Road, south of Poinciana High School. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Happening today, one of two people accused in a deadly case of child abuse is expected back in court, this time to face murder charges.
Andre Walker and his girlfriend are accused of torturing and abusing the woman's 10-year-old son so badly he died from his injuries. News 6's Mark Lehman is taking a closer look at this case. And Mark, today's hearing comes after hundreds gathered to remember that boy over the weekend.
It was a tremendous showing of support for the family of Xavier Williams. His death has deeply impacted the Tavares community as there continue to be calls for justice.
It's the next step in a horrific case of child abuse. This morning, arraignments are scheduled for Kimberly Mills and her boyfriend, Andre Walker. Both are facing second-degree murder charges after Tavares police say they beat and tortured Mills' son, Xavier Williams, inside this home. He died after spending more than a month in the hospital.
Nobody should ever go through, what Xavier went through.
On Saturday, hundreds in Tavares came together for a candlelight vigil to lift up Xavier's loved ones.
They made us feel like it wasn't just a case. You know what I mean? It felt like it was very personal.
Xavier's aunt saying the support from police, Advent Health, and the entire community is helping her family get through an incredibly difficult time. The vigil also raising money for Xavier's biological father and his surviving brother.
Just know that your son will always be in my heart. And may that he rest in peace.
When it comes to this morning's arraignments, it appears Mills has waived her appearance, but Walker's arraignment remains on the docket. We'll be in court when that begins at 8:30, and we'll let you know what happens. Crystal?
Mark, thanks. A 17-year-old student accused of threatening to shoot up Seminole High School is also set to appear in court today. The teen was arrested earlier this month after Sanford police say the Elevation High School student posted the threat in an online video. We're not showing his face or naming the teen because of his age. However, police say when he was arrested, they found several weapons described as realistic airsoft replicas. The teen was ordered to stay in jail until today's arraignment, which is set for 8:30.
Breaking overnight, the death toll following a powerful earthquake in Southeast Asia has risen to more than 1,700, and officials say that number will likely get even higher. As CBS's Derek Waller explains, hundreds remain missing, with crews working around the clock to find any remaining survivors.
Desperate screams from the mother of a missing construction worker Sunday in Bangkok, Thailand. 2 days after that 30-story construction site collapsed, sending plumes of ash racing into city streets. This morning, Thai officials say at least 17 people in that country are now confirmed dead, with dozens more injured and unaccounted for. But the worst devastation is some 600 miles north near the epicenter of Myanmar's Mandalay region, where temples and mosques filled with worshippers were reduced to rubble and multiple bridges collapsed. This video there shows nurses in a maternity ward trying to steady cradles as the ground rocks, with one woman falling to her knees to protect a baby. The military that seized government control in a coup 4 years ago now says more than 1,700 people are confirmed dead, another 3,400 injured, and 300 still missing. Americans with family in the region say they're nervous. In New York City, one man says his family is sleeping on the street after finding cracks in the walls of their homes.
Mandalay, the whole city is like, a lot of building collapse. They can't even eat and cook in their kitchen.
They're afraid to go into the house.
Yeah, so they don't have any food to eat.
But amidst tragedy, this glimmer of hope, the birth of this baby born in the midst of commotion. I'm Derek Waller, CBS News.
Just some terrifying video there. Over the weekend, the United States pledged $2 million in humanitarian aid to help Myanmar recover.
New this morning, 3 people are dead, a 4th in critical condition after a horrible crash in Lake County. It happened after troopers say the driver of a Jeep Grand Cherokee ran off of State Road 19 early yesterday. The SUV then hit a pole before flipping several times. All 4 people inside were ejected. 2 died at the scene. The 3rd victim died after being taken to the hospital. Troopers aren't releasing the names of anyone involved.
A Brevard County man is facing charges after police say he hit and killed a Walmart worker while driving drunk. Titusville police say Dallas Weed hit the worker Friday afternoon at the intersection of Columbia Boulevard and Windover Trail. Investigators say the victim was walking back to his job at the nearby Walmart when the crash happened. Police say Weed stayed at the scene but showed signs of intoxication. He was arrested on charges of DUI manslaughter but has since been released on bond.
We'll be reaching out to Orange County firefighters today to see if they're any closer to figuring out what sparked a fire at a former church with a history of suspected arson. This was the scene late Saturday along North Hiawassee Road, just south of Silver Star Road. Crews quickly put out the flames, but not before it damaged part of the building. Firefighters were at that same property back in February of last year when another fire caused the roof to collapse. It's been abandoned since. Now the big question is whether arson could be to blame.
State Fire Marshal will look at all of those details and determine, exactly how these fires are starting. But at this time, I don't have information on exactly how the fire started. The State Fire Marshal will be conducting a thorough investigation.
No one was injured in either fire. Following the previous one, though, investigators did release photos of a man who was on the property at the time, but he's not been found.
Right now, the countdown clock is ticking along the Space Coast for a historic launch. In just hours, a 4-person crew is set to lift off on a private mission with the goal of becoming the first to ever go into a polar orbit. The mission is called Fram2. It features an international crew led by Chun Wang, a Bitcoin mining billionaire, along with a German researcher, a Norwegian cinematographer, and an Australian polar guide. The crew is set to fly about 270 miles up. Their Dragon spacecraft will then orbit the Earth's north and south poles 55 times, giving them views that even the astronauts on the International Space Station can't see.
It's been a crazy dream of mine as far back as I can remember, and then somehow it's now a reality.
The Fram2 crew is set to conduct more than 20 experiments during their 3 to 5 day mission. Right now, the launch is set for 9:46 tonight from the Kennedy Space Center. If and when it happens, we're going to bring it to you live on News 6, clickorlando.com, and on News 6 Plus. 7:39, let's get you back to the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. And she's looking at the launch conditions for tonight. I know that probably leading up to this, they're going to be dealing with some rain, possibly some storms, Candace, but for that time at 9:46, normally a pretty decent hour to launch.
Right. I do know that I think they do have a little bit of a wiggle room for a window for today. So it looks like by 9:45-ish, most of the range should be offshore. But if it's still close enough, or we have some of that cloud cover that's still kind of charged up from some of those thunderstorms, they will have to back off the launch and then try again for tomorrow. As of right now, launch for today is about 70% go, just because that we are going to have some of that rain, some of that cloud cover nearby with that breeze out of the southwest. But not only is the forecast important for today along the Space Coast, but towards the coast of California when they come back 3.5 days from now. That's something that they are also putting into account, because if the weather is dicey by the time they ascend back into Earth, then that can be another problem. So it's kind of a twofold. It's not just today's forecast, but again, out along the west coast of the country 3.5 days from now. Back here at home, though, whether it's today, tomorrow, the next day, or the next day, or the next day, it's going to be hot. That's going to be the story. Nearing 90 degrees. Copy and paste kind of weather forecast, but we do have some rain to contend with. Let's take a live look outside. A lot of cloud cover, some fog right now. We'll be talking more about the fog, the heat, and the rain back into the forecast. Welcome, summer. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
It's being a smart aleck over there. When she finished up saying the next day, I go, well, what about the next one? And, well, we already know that story. Northbound Turnpike, not pack, very slow this morning. And then a crash off of Poinciana Boulevard, really not affecting you too much this morning. How do we know it's Monday? Check this out. Eastbound I-4 and 1792, very slow, even as you make your way into the downtown area. Looks like we do have a crash there off of Lee and Edgewater possibly, so be careful. And then westbound a little slow at Lee Road. Now, no patrol last Friday, but what did I do this weekend? I hung out with you guys at the 13th annual Pints and Paws in downtown Sanford, raising funds for local pet rescues. And I'm telling you guys, I had the best time of my life. So many viewers are dog supporters. You guys came up, said hi. I got to hang out with dogs all day long. And of course, some of my friends from the Sanford Police Department. Great, great time. You can tell. Look at these girls. She was tired. So, hey, that's my mom. Today, part of WKMG hits the road. We've been talking about all this Oviedo stuff. So, me being me, I'm going to welcome the Oviedo Police Chief into Side Results 1 today for a nice live stream, talk about Oviedo. Maybe he could find the chickens out there somewhere. Probably not, but we'll talk at 10 o'clock. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. 7:42, President Trump raising questions this morning about a possible third term.
Coming up, the comments he made to reporters and why he says he's considering ways to stay in office.
First, though, lingering questions following a deadly shooting on board a Miami-Dade transit bus, who police are now talking to after 2 passengers are killed. Developing now, a deadly scene on a public bus in Miami. 2 passengers killed after police say the driver pulled out a gun and shot them after a fight broke out. We have some video from the scene yesterday in Miami Gardens. Investigators say around 3 a.m. there was some kind of fight between 2 men and a Miami-Dade transit bus driver. The 2 men who were shot were rushed to the hospital but later died from their injuries. It's unclear if the bus was moving at the time or if anyone else was on board. The driver, who police say fired the deadly shots, was detained, but so far is not facing any charges.
New this morning, President Trump says he's considering ways to serve a third term in office. The comments were made during an NBC News interview, with the president appearing to back up the statement while speaking on Air Force One last night.
But I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is in a way a fourth term. I have had more people say, please run again. I said, we have a long way to go before we even think about that. But I've had a lot of people.
Despite the president's comments, which he says are not a joke, the 22nd Amendment says no one can be elected president more than twice. It was added to the Constitution in 1951 after President Franklin Roosevelt was elected 4 times in a row. Well, this week, WKMG is hitting the road to Oviedo. One of our viewers wrote in telling us to check out the chickens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've been around for decades there, but recently people started asking, where'd they go? So News 6 anchor Matt Austin went on a chicken expedition.
Downtown Oviedo is covered in pictures of poultry.
We're looking for the chickens. Hey, ladies, you guys know about the chickens around here? Am I in the right spot?
But the real deal is hard to find these days.
You'd see them anytime you were downtown Oviedo, you would see them everywhere. And now I rarely see them.
I think they've been absconded because they're needed for eggs, and people are going to keep them in their backyard for eggs because they're so pricey.
The only fowl I could find
I sell so much chicken stuff. So if you need a chicken,
were knockoffs inside the My Oviedo store.
it is what makes Oviedo, Oviedo, and that's what bothers so many people.
So to find out what happened to Oviedo's beloved chickens,
it was a scandal.
I called the mayor, Megan Sladek.
So when I've been walking around asking people about chickens, it feels like a touchy subject.
It is a little bit. So like all living creatures, chickens poop. And that is really what this whole thing hinges on.
The mayor says the chickens were considered a nuisance to some of the local businesses. They were pooping all over the place. Legally, the owner of the property has a right to get rid of nuisance animals.
And they were humanely removed from the properties where they were most abundant.
Oviedo has changed a lot in the last 40 years. More construction, more people, less room for that old small town charm and the chickens. Matt Austin, News 6, getting results.
All right, so Matt also reached out to the family who owns the land. The city, as you heard the mayor there, says that they humanely removed the chickens. Matt has not heard back, and he will kick off our week of Hits the Road coverage live in Oviedo today. You can watch starting at 4 on News 6. Click Orlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV.
This has some people talking. I got an email from Lisa Lloyd.
Okay.
Thank you for watching. She says that she enjoys our broadcast every weekday morning. Thanks.
Thank you.
But she says the chickens are long gone, but now they have a few peacocks seen at the Fairwinds Credit Union near the old downtown Oviedo area and in the shopping plaza at old downtown intersection of Broadway and Central.
I say we welcome ostriches to Oviedo.
Let's change it from chickens to peacocks.
Peacocks are the worst.
They are the worst.
They're so mean. They're aggressive.
They're
very
pretty,
aggressive.
And a bit flamboyant. Like a little out of control.
They're right.
Like, all right, chill with your tail feather. All right, we get it.
Yeah,
Show offs.
We get it, you're cute.
But if you see them, go ahead and pin them so that we can share them. Click Orlando.com/pins or using our app. Go ahead and snap a photo, take
Can I just
some
say,
video.
though, how gorgeous this new backdrop looks back here?
Looks nice.
Yeah, looks good.
City of Orlando
Have you
looking beautiful.
Have you noticed?
Yeah. Cheddar.
Right?
She
Looks
looks
as
pretty.
good as the weather, right?
I know.
Nah.
No. Talking about the weather forecast.
Our nice days are donezo.
I was like, how do I transition it? No.
No.
Not happening.
But you know what? The city beautiful and the Sunshine State living up to its name today. It's going to be hot. It's going to be pretty. It's going to be hot and it's going to be steamy. And then we're going to sprinkle in a couple thunderstorms in the forecast. Summer, everybody. Scattered sea breeze storms. Coverage today, not widespread, not as severe as yesterday. We popped several tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings as well. But for today, sea breeze storms will develop. Anytime we get those sea breeze going, there will be that potential, some gusty winds, some lightning, small pea-sized hail, and we will have some of those booming thunderstorms again today. Beyond the storms, the summer-like heat, that's also back. It's really going to be a sizzling start, not only for today, but throughout the first week of April's temperatures will be nearing 90 degrees. And then you're not going to see it on the next 7 days. I'll show you one graphic that goes beyond 7 days, and you'll see that we are going to start trending a bit cooler. We might get back into the 70s for a few days. But again, not within the next 7 days. It's going to be a scorcher. And the reason for it, we got a cold front that's just to our north. It's going to stay to the north for the next 2 days, and that's why our rain chances will be up to about a 20 to 30% of seeing those sea breezes. This is not the culprit for the rain. We're going to see the rain coming through with our daily sea breezes, depending on kind of what sea breeze is stronger is where we'll see the rain. So I'll show you where in just a few seconds. Right now, out the door, temperatures low 70s along our coastline, upper 60s along the coast. But as we take you here hour by hour, still running well above average, near 9 degrees. But then here comes that rain after about 3, 4 o'clock. That's when we'll start to see some of those scattered showers bubble up. Notice it's not just areas of along I-4 and towards 95. We will see a couple of those rogue showers and thunderstorms develop, but more of the widespread concern will be just south of Deltona, right along I-4 and out towards our western communities. So we're talking Volusia, Seminole, Orange, Osceola, and Brevard County, kind of seeing that main blow up of scattered showers and thunderstorms. Everywhere else, it's going to be about the heat. Then as we head into your Tuesday, another round of sea breeze thunderstorms, but the pattern changes a little bit, favoring more inland zones for your Tuesday afternoon. So again, we have some rain and some thunderstorms to contend with today and tomorrow, but beyond that, temperatures are going to be closing in on near 90, still a few degrees below the record values. But here's this one graphic. Don't blink, you'll miss it. Temperature outlook showing that temperatures across the deep south will be trending cooler starting the middle and end of next week. So in the meantime, it's all red for us, talking about near record temperatures with our first 90-degree day pretty much guaranteed at some point this week. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
All right, Poinciana, this crash really not affecting you guys too much there off of Poinciana Boulevard, but that morning traffic will. So pay attention, increase the following distance, and we won't have any crashes, and you'll make it to work on time. The attractions area, not horrible. I labeled this crash Edgewater right here over by Forest City, kind of the 441, 434 area. No heavy roadblock, at least I'm not picking up. It's labeled as a serious crash, but all crashes kind of are pretty serious depending on your perspective of it. I-4 Amelia looking good. You can see that low cloud cover out there along I-4. Be careful, but our drive times, whoa, kind of high here coming in from 417 to downtown. I'll check on this for the end of the show. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. 7:52 on this Monday. Sticker shock at the gas station as prices at the pump go up once again.
Still to come on News 6 Mornings, what's driving the cost to fill up? Get ready to pay a little more the next time you fill up your gas tank. After falling to a 15-month low, gas prices are once again on the rise. According to new numbers from AAA, the average price for a gallon of regular in Florida is $3.11, up 14 cents from this time last week. Experts say it's due to an increase in crude oil. However, Florida is doing better than the national average, which now stands at $3.16 a gallon. Women across the country are flocking to clubs that allow them to party like they did in their younger days without staying up until the wee hours of the morning.
This I love. You got to hear about this. How about a club where the dancing begins at the more reasonable hour of 6 p.m.? Yeah. Well, it's happening at dozens of places called Early Birds Clubs. It's designed for those who like to dance and let loose, but still be in bed by 11. The idea started in Chicago and has quickly spread to other cities, giving those who have to be up early something to look forward to. Early Birds Clubs also helps get results. 10% of the proceeds of every dance party is donated to a local charity.
All right.
I love that. Get dressed up.
Yeah.
And then I get to be in bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
At a normal time.
Yeah, no, I mean, and then that way you don't wake up in a haze. Speaking of a haze, we got some visibility issues across Central Florida, and that's going to continue to be the biggest concern, at least for the next hour or so, with visibility less than about a quarter of a mile. Then later on this afternoon, we are going to be dodging some rain and some storms. Temperatures in the meantime nearing 90 degrees, Steve.
All right, delays heavy westbound I-4 right now in the downtown area. No crash, but look at this. This is I-4 at Kennedy, and we are bumper to bumper. I do think kind of the up and down and the roadway and the fog has a little bit to do with it, but no current crashes to be reported. But if you're headed westbound from Lake Mary right now, add some time, please.
All right. Thank you, Steve, and thank you for joining us this morning. We break news on clickorlando.com.
Our Early Bird Club starts now, and you can join us on our new 6 Plus app for your TV.
They call that day drinking, really. I mean, it's not some new concept. It's just day drink, right? Hope you have a great day.
This one starts at 6.
I mean, 8 o'clock. Let's do it.
For the event that people go to.
Are the bosses listening? I hope not.